Hey everybody, it's John and Shannon from That DIY Couple, and we're going to do our February 2020 net worth update. So we have been doing this series for the last several months. If you're not up to date on where we are with our net worth, I would encourage you to go back and watch a lot of our previous videos in the series. We talk about our approach to assets, to debt, our focus on paying down debt, our status with debt, et cetera, et cetera. And this month we're gonna do our update for February 2020. It's a little bit late, but we're still getting it out there. So the first slide is a picture of us from February 2020. And we'll go right into our debt slide.
So our credit card debt is still zero. A couple months ago, we paid off all of our credit card debt, and we don't ever intend to carry a balance. So pretty soon we'll take this off of our slide. The student loans went down a lot this month because I refinanced my loans to be on a 5-year payment plan in order to get a much lower interest rate. I'm now at 2.7% with First Republic. And I'll leave a link in the description box. It's a really great one if there's a First Republic branch near you.
So we talked about this in a couple of previous videos about refinancing the student loans. And one thing we had to do to refinance them is have a lot of just cash sitting in an account because that's one of the requirements. So we've been sort of hoarding cash a little bit up to this point just because we wanted to refinance. And then in February, the refinance actually went through. Maybe it was late January. So February is the first month of the new payment. So every month we're going to be paying about this same amount towards principal going forward.
And those will be paid down in a little bit less than 5 years. Next, we paid just the principal on our house mortgage, $613, and just the principal on our investment properties, $2,526. That's our pro rata share of the principal that was paid on the investment properties by the group with which we invest.
So those are all like being slow paid essentially. We're not paying them off fast or slow, just the normal payment that we would make every month.
So in total, we paid $7,727 off in the month of February. And year to date, we've paid off $17,708.
So the next slide is a pie chart showing our debts in February versus October 2019. So it's a little bit of a change from our previous videos where we show month-to-month changes, but just because the proportion of our debts hasn't really changed that much. We're just showing it based on the previous month, or based on when we first started these videos. So our credit cards are 0% instead of 2%. It's the biggest change.
We decided to start from October 2019 because that's when we got really serious about debt pay down. And you can go back and we'll link the video in the description to see our sort of debt plan from that time period. But yeah, we're hoping that eventually our investment properties become 100%. Because we intend to keep the debt on our investment properties because it pays for itself and because they're really low interest rates and they provide us with a lot of cash flow. But we're looking to quickly and rapidly pay down all of our other personal debt, so student loans and our house's mortgage.
So the next slide is our asset slide. We are looking, our main assets as they are every month, are our investment properties. So I don't really update our investment properties every month just because I don't think there's a huge amount of change in the value of them. So the change between January and February to the value of our investment properties is the same. The same is true with our house. Our retirement accounts went down a fair amount in February. So if you're watching this in say April or May, you're certainly aware of what started to happen to the markets in February and then continued into March. So this is a reflection of some of the market changes that happened at the end of February 2020. So our retirement accounts went down by about $7,000. Our checking accounts, we still had a lot of money in the checking accounts at this time because we had just refinanced. Went down by about $4,500, $4,744 because you went on a trip to Spain with some of your girlfriends, and so we'd been saving up for that a little bit. And this is the cost of that trip, more or less.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we had a pretty big balance in our checking and savings at this time because otherwise we would have deployed that in December, January when I got my bonus into the markets and we would have taken an even bigger hit. But now we have kind of cash on hand. We got a little bit lucky. We weren't trying to time the market.
Personal property, essentially unchanged as well. And our business accounts, this is just kind of normal variability month to month. So it went up by a very small amount. For the month, we were down by almost $20,000 in our assets, but we're still more or less up for the entire year. And that's driven mostly just by changes in the market because of our retirement accounts and changes in our month-to-month spending.
So next is a graph of our assets. You can see there hasn't been much change here, but the bulk of our assets by far are the investment properties.
So this is our net worth slide. This is how we calculate our traditional net worth. It's our total assets minus our total debts. We also talk about a conservative net worth, which we'll show in a future slide. But for the month of February, we had assets around 3.3 million. We have debts of around 2.36 million. So that's a net worth of $941,462, which is a change of negative $11,946 from the previous month.
And year to date, our net worth is up by $26,350. So on the next slide, we calculate net worth more conservatively. This is the way that we like to think about net worth. It's taking all of our assets, but subtracting, before we subtract our liabilities, any assets that we wouldn't want to actually liquidate in the case of a financial emergency. So we subtract out our house, our car, and our personal property. So here in February, we've got 3.3 million of total assets. We subtract our $550,000 house, our $17,500 of personal property, the $10,000 value of our car, and then we, on top of that, subtract our total debt, which is 2.3 million, and we get a conservative net worth of $363,962.
So that's a change of about $12,000 down from the previous month. Again, a lot driven by the market and just by having some additional expenses. But for the year, we're up about $25,000 in our conservative net worth. This is our net worth over the past year. We changed the way that we show this information a few months ago to make it a little bit maybe a little bit clearer. I think we still might change this because the numbers on the graph on the y-axis go from like 0 up to millions. So even pretty substantial changes for us don't show on the graph. But our net worth has been more or less stable, I would say, for the past couple months. It's gone up a little bit, but the graph doesn't really show that. So
yeah, it's hard to see it here. But it's more clear on the next slide, which is our net worth over time. So this shows our net worth back in 2008 when we graduated from college, and then it jumps forward to 2013 when we had both graduated from law school and sort of entering the workforce and starting to build assets and pay down liabilities.
Yeah, and so for 2020 is not a lot of change from 2019 because we only had 2 months of 2020 so far.
So now we're going to talk about the sort of focus on debt pay down that we've been proceeding with. So in February, we paid off a total of $7,727 in 1 month. Most of that is due to the fact that my student loan repayments jumped up to almost $5,000 as a result of taking on a more aggressive payment plan. Since we got really serious about debt in October of 2019, we've paid off a total of $138,845, which is insane. That's only 5 months.
Yeah, so that's a lot. So we're really happy about that.
Yeah, we're super happy.
So February was kind of a normal month for us, but March is going to be a lot different because the markets have gone crazy. We also did a couple things financially that we'll talk about in that video. We really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving us by watching these videos and by commenting. We'd love to hear about your finances, your journey. There's Hugo. We're going to talk a little bit about navigating financial stuff in a time of crisis and pandemic and market variability, which is February. We're just getting into it, but March is crazy, and we're sort of we're living through it right now. So stay tuned for our March video. Again, if you have any comments, please let us know. And
until next time, do well and always make things better.